Hi everyone and welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here, guys. Today I want to share my thoughts on an oil from the brand called Hamidi. I have to say I'm not very familiar with the brand. From them I've only tried this oil called Johara, and I've also tried one of their water-based fragrances, Muqallat Musk I think it's called. But besides this, I'm very new to the brand. By the way, if you have tried any fragrances from the brand and you enjoy them, or if you have any recommendations, feel free to share your recommendations in the comment section. Now, when I look them up to read a little bit more about them, they are based in the United Arab Emirates. Of course, this is a Middle Eastern brand. And I was surprised to see that they are under Sterling Perfumes, and also Armaf is under Sterling Perfumes. So somehow they're connected in a sense. But yes, like I've said, you guys, today I want to share my thoughts on the oil called Johara. I want to let you know how it smells like, how it develops, how it performs, if it reminds me of other fragrances, and what I overall think about the oil. So let's just start. Now, of course, this is an oil. I will apply it on my skin. Something that I want to mention when it comes to this oil, at least the notes listed on the brand's website, they were very vague and mysterious with what went into creating this oil. And the notes I found on a local website that sells this oil, they're like very out of place in a sense. So I'm not really sure where you shop Hamidi fragrances, but just so you know, when it comes to this oil, a lot of the notes listed can be wrong. Of course, I will tell you how it smells like to me, but honestly, I trust my nose. Yeah, let's just start. This oil, the first few times I tried it, I was like, okay, I find it very similar, like it reminds me of something. And I tried to think and I just couldn't pinpoint what the fragrance was that it reminds me of. And then it just like clicked and I was like, oh my God, yes, of course. But I will let you know the fragrance this reminds me of in a second. So this oil, you guys, this opens up with a citrus accord, the kind of citrus accord that leaves your mouth pucker, but it's sweet and sour at the same time. Think something like bergamot slices with a little bit of lemon dipped in sugar, you know, so it's sweet but slightly zingy at the same time, and it makes your mouth go like, makes your mouth pucker. That's the exact style of citrus accord I'm talking about. It's not overly cold, it's not overly astringent. Actually, it's not astringent at all. It's not very refreshing. Like I've said, it's a sweet and sour citrus. And to me, this is how it opens up with something that smells almost like a green apple accord in the background or something among these lines, because it has a slight freshness, but that typical freshness that you usually have from apple accords, like a freshly cut green apple, that kind of bright, airy kind of freshness, not at all like an aquatic style of freshness or a marine style of freshness, not the case, definitely. Yeah, see you guys, as I'm smelling it now, the fragrance that this one reminds me of is a fragrance from Arabian Oud called Madawi. Now, if you have tried Madawi, you know that Madawi follows a very similar direction as Erba Pura, but, and I mean similar direction like structure-wise. It's a similar fruity accord with a little bit of citrus, but actually I feel like Erba Pura it's much more youthful, much more uplifting, much more happy, much more, I don't want to say juvenile because I don't think it's juvenile, but it's definitely more youthful smelling, whereas Madawi to my nose is the more grown-up version of that fruity, musky, citrusy combo. And this to me follows a very similar direction, especially as it starts to develop and that slight sweet and sour citrus accord gets a chance to tone down a little bit, and that bright freshness from the green apple starts to shine even more. And I detect, I don't know if it's in my mind because I associate this fragrance with Madawi, but I detect somewhat of a pineapple like fruity facet here. That to me adds a very beautiful, fun, happy, uplifting twist to the fragrance, but the sweetness of the pineapple here, I feel like it's balanced. It's not that overly sweet pineapple that feels very juicy and mouth-watering like pineapple juice or something like this, or like canned pineapple, you know, it's not that type of pineapple. To me, it's almost like a hint of pineapple mixed with some delicate floral-like facets in the background on this sweet and sour, also slightly tangy kind of fruity accord. I'm guessing, as I smell this fragrance, it has something similar to blackcurrant in fragrances, because usually when I smell fragrances where the blackcurrant really gets a chance to shine, I detect a slight fruity accord that has almost like a slight tangy green delicate facet at the same time, and this is how this fragrance smells like to me. So you have the citrus accord on one hand with that bright, airy and very light and fresh apple facet, with a slight pineapple touch that adds just a bit of sweetness with this, I'm guessing, blackcurrant or something similar to blackcurrant that adds a slight tangy facet to the fragrance. All this paired with a beautiful powdery musky facet and a little bit of vanilla that rounds the fragrance in a sense. I feel like the overall texture of this fragrance, it feels full, it feels warm, and it feels very dense. It's definitely a fragrance that's pretty robust, I would say. It's on the stronger side, but I do not find it challenging because these notes, to me at least, these are the kind of notes that people would typically wear them during high heat, like warm spring days, extremely warm summer days, perhaps warm autumn days, you know. Yeah, this is how this fragrance smells like to me. Yeah, it smells green, but different facets of green, but not the kind of green that smells herbal, not the kind of green that smells aromatic. The kind of green, again, that comes from blackcurrant with the citrus bouquet, you know, and with that slight apple-like freshness. It's a little bit sweet, but it's almost like the sweetness is in the background and you need to smell it. Like when I smell it, like, okay, let me gather my thoughts because I start to speak very fast again and then I cannot pronounce my words. So what I want to say is, when you smell it just like this, you get that sweet and sour facet of the citrus accord. When you spend a little bit more time smelling it, you get a vanillic-like sweetness that feels very creamy almost and very round, but you get it deep in the background. It's almost like it acts as a base to support the other notes. And then you have the slight musky facet that adds again that like powdery musky hint that adds a little bit of brightness and airiness throughout the composition, even though this is a dense fragrance, but I do not find it a suffocating fragrance. I think, if anything, if you have a taste for citrusy forward fragrances and maybe you are looking for an oil to amplify the longevity of your citrusy forward scents, because you know usually citruses, at least citrusy accords in fragrances, they don't last very long. Like citrusy fragrances are not known for like crazy longevity, you know, because they evaporate very fast. But if you're looking for an oil that you can layer with your citrusy scents to make it last longer, why not look into this oil? You guys, the presentation of this oil is so beautiful. The bottle legit looks like a piece of jewelry. It's all gold with some like small white pearly like things. I'm guessing they're not like real pearls, but it looks very beautiful. And you have 12 ml of the fragrance. And from what I checked on the brand's website, they sell it for 59 dirhams, which is more than affordable for 12 ml of oil. It's extremely affordable to me. Yeah, this is legit how I feel about this fragrance. This is how it smells like to me. What I have noticed also is that as the fragrance gets a chance to develop on my skin, what it happens, at least to my nose, that vanilla that I told you in the opening was in the background, acting like a base in a sense, you know, to support the other notes. Slowly it moves more and more forward, and in a sense it adds sweetness to the fragrance, but the sweetness never gets to be suffocating or sickly sweet or anything like this, because you have that apple-like freshness with that delicate pineapple trace, with the musky facet there, and with that tangy blackcurrant-like fruity feel that to me cut a little bit from the sweetness. So even though it's a sweet fragrance because of the vanilla with the pineapple, but you also have some freshness, you also have a slight musky facet there in the background. Yeah, to me this is an extremely versatile fragrance oil to have if you have a taste for citrusy fragrances. Look, if you have a taste for fragrances like Erba Pura, just so you know, I actually think this fragrance is not as sweet. It's actually a tad more tangy in a sense, you know, it's a tad more tangy and definitely much more round and full in a way, and it feels much more dense at the same time. To me, Erba Pura smells like a bowl of tropical fruit, like a little bit of everything. In a sense, it's quite an abstract fruity accord, but I know it's very sweet. To me, it leans tropical fruity in a sense that it smells like yellow fruits, like pineapple with I don't know what they're combined. And you also have a slight sweet citrusy kick. Now the citruses that you have here, I don't find them sweet per se. I find them like sweet and sour in a sense, but you have the sweetness from the vanilla and from the pineapple that adds a sweet coating almost to the fragrance. Yeah, now seasons, like I've mentioned, to me this is warm weather and warm weather only. This is the kind of fragrance that shines in the heat to me. If I were to wear something like this, now look, even though I do not like citruses, I could see myself wearing this fragrance when I am wearing fragrances like Jasmine Wisp. I could use this one as a base, perhaps Little Heart, perhaps you could even layer this one. Look, I remember someone a while ago, they left me a comment that they purchased a fragrance from Al Haramain called L'Aventure. And to that person, she was a woman, she told me that she finds it too what was the word? Too refreshing, too sour. Too refreshing and too sour. And if I could give her any layering recommendations to use with lavender so she could wear it, because for her it was too much, she didn't enjoy it. This is something that would layer extremely well with lavender from Al Haramain. In case you have that fragrance and you have an issue with the way the citrusy accord is done there, as a reference, this is definitely much sweeter than lavender. And this doesn't follow the lavender direction. If anything, to me, this follows the Madawi scent direction. Of course, I do not own Madawi, so I cannot compare them side by side, but I have smelled Madawi. And I have an oil that's inspired by Madawi, and I could definitely see the similarities, you guys. It took me a while because I don't know why, when I first smelled it for the first few times, it reminded me of Erba Pura, but a more grown-up version of Erba Pura. And then I was like, okay, but I've smelled this fragrance somewhere. And then, like I've said, it clicked. It smells just like Madawi, or similar to Madawi, okay? Don't purchase this fragrance looking for a one-on-one inspiration of Madawi, because since I do not own that fragrance, I cannot compare them side by side. But if you find it for a very good price and you know you love the fragrances done in a similar style to Madawi, to Erba Pura, you know you're looking for an oil to use to layer with other fragrances, check out this one. I don't think you will be disappointed. This is everything I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like the video, leave me a comment, tell me something in the comment section. Let me know if you have tried any fragrances from Hamidi. I would definitely love to hear your feedback on the brand. Like I've said, it's a brand that I have just discovered recently, but I saw that they have a beautiful collection of Arabian Ouds, and honestly that collection really sparked my interest. Now look, I cannot find them locally in Romania, unfortunately, but who knows, you guys. By the way, if you have tried their Arabian Oud series, let me know how you feel about those oils, because those really caught my attention. So yes, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Don't forget you can follow me on Instagram. Here is my handle, and I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye.